All right. Uh, how's it going?
It's going pretty well.
Pretty
It's
well.
been a stressful week, kind of, but other than that, I'm fine.
Glad to hear that. Was it Monira? Am I saying that right?
It's Monira.
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 Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you for clearing that up.
no problem.
Yeah, I'm glad you made it here. Did you have any problems with the Zoom link or anything like that?
No, everything went fine.
All right. Well, my name is Ryan McLean. I use he, him, his pronouns, but feel free to just call me Ryan, or if it's more comfortable with you to use the more formal version of my name, that's fine too. But most people call me Ryan. What brings you in today?
Um, so for me, I've been always kind of feeling like pressure to do things a certain way for like my career, and it's like I'm currently like I have to decide by next year what I want to do with my life, kind of decide my major and stuff, and right now I'm undecided. And I have like a lot of pressure, kind of nonverbal pressure mostly from my parents because they expect me to be a doctor. And a lot of like parents here like want their kids to be doctors, but I don't want to do that, and I don't know how to break it to them. And at the same time, like at least to break it to them, I should know what I want to do, but I don't. And so I'm just kind of lost, and I've been feeling really stressed out about that lately. So my friends actually suggested me to come here because they thought like I've been looking really stressed, like it's hard to sleep and it's hard to like eat when things are on your mind like this. So yeah, I guess trying to kind of navigate on like what I should do and how to not feel as lost in life. It's kind of why I'm here.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're here. I think therapy is a good process for anybody to go through. Any kind of distress you're having in your life, no matter how big or small, it can be helpful. Um, you mentioned school. What school are you going to?
Um, Currently I'm going to Wayne State University in Detroit. And right now, like I can't really say what my major is because I'm undecided.
Yeah,
But
right.
yeah, so I'm just
Yeah,
kind of
it's a
doing
good
my gen
school.
ed. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And you work at the school, right?
Yeah, I'm a front desk receptionist at their welcome center.
Okay, cool. Speaking of which, the intake form that you filled out, did you have any questions about that or anything?
Mm, I just want to make sure that like no one would find out I'm here, like that I'm like kind of seeking therapy, especially not like people in my community or like my parents, because I'm scared of like
Yeah,
rumors kind of spreading around because people don't see mental health as like something to really talk about.
yeah,
So as long as like no one's finding out that I'm here, then yeah, yeah.
yeah. Of course, of course. Everything that you say in this session and going forward is completely confidential between you and me. There's a few exceptions to that rule, but as far as it getting out to your parents, I know this is a very sensitive subject for you, so we will do our best to make sure that this stays between us. Um, Regarding confidentiality, did you have any questions about that?
Um, Other than making sure no one finds out, then yeah,
Yeah.
like I understand the other things like where um is it saying like if I harm myself or if I'm trying to harm others, and then maybe if it's like court mandated. But other than that, like yeah, I think I get the gist of it.
Yeah, basically, you know, I mean, it's really important to me that you understand that this is all confidential. Um, uh, Basically, I'm a mandatory reporter, which means that there's three reasons why I would have to break confidentially with you, which you've already mentioned them. It's a serious risk for attempting suicide or hurting others. If the court were to subpoena my records or to report abuse or neglect of children or vulnerable adults. Everything else that we talk about will stay in between you and me. Okay.
Right, thank you.
As far as the intake form, where are the names that you put on there? Is that what you want me to refer to you as well as what you want to be put on the insurance form?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. and the rest of my staff can use the same Monira, right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure of that. We talked, one thing that I want to explain real quick, this first session is basically an intake session. As you can gather by the name, we're going to be going over a bunch of questions, and just for me to get to know you a little bit better. And the point is just so that we have a basis to start off in. So I'll ask you a bunch of questions. We'll get through all this, and then we'll make some goals at the end, and then we'll go from there. Okay.
Yep, that sounds good.
Okay, let's get started. So we talked about education. I know that's something that you're not quite sure of what you want to do yet, but you're going to Wayne State. How do you feel about the school? You like it?
Yeah, I like it. It's like close to home, and it's kind of like a commuter school. It's easy to get there and just do what I
Right.
gotta do and then come back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you work at the school. We already talked about that.
Mhm.
Have you ever been in a therapy session before or done therapy?
Actually, no, this is my first time.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Let's talk about your family history a little bit. Have you or anyone in your family ever used drugs?
No.
Any kind, like caffeine or weed or alcohol as well?
No.
Okay. And then have you ever had any thoughts about killing yourself or hurting yourself?
Mm, maybe once in the past.
Okay. Um, would you like to, is that something you'd like to go into more later on?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll write that down on our goals list. We'll talk about it. And then family history. Is there any history of suicide or attempts of suicide in your family?
No.
Okay. Mental illness. Are you diagnosed with anything, or is anyone in your family diagnosed with any mental disorders?
Mm, well, I think my mom has depression. Um, and I wouldn't self-diagnose, but I do feel like sometimes I feel anxious a lot, so maybe a little bit of social anxiety specifically, but I'd never received a diagnosis for that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then I guess I wouldn't diagnose myself with depression either, but it runs in the family, and like I mentioned, I did kind of have certain thoughts in the past.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess looking more into it is something that I'd be open to doing as well.
Yeah. Sometimes being in a high pressure situation like being in school and really trying to figure things out can bring these feelings up as well. It makes it for kind of an anxious environment in the first place. So I can imagine that those things might be contributing to that. Let's see. So you live with your parents and you commute to school, correct?
Yeah.
So how is your relationship with your parents? I know it's been stressful because they have high expectations for you, and they want you to be a doctor. Other than that, how's life at home?
They're like really supportive, like usually. I mean, they worked hard for me their entire lives, and I think that's why they have a certain expectation of like, I should be working hard for myself. They just want the best for me, and I know that. But it's like I said, it's kind of like nonverbal pressure because of the expectations that they put on me. And they also ask sometimes, oh, like you're doing pre-med, right? Like how are classes going and stuff. And I know that they're trying to probe me for those answers. And it just makes me nervous because I'm scared they'll react negatively. But they're really supportive. They just want me to put my best foot forward. It's just sometimes it can be too much and overwhelming.
Right,
So yeah.
right. Yeah, it's hard to talk to your parents when there's so much pressure like that.
Mhm.
But it seems like your parents have been, other than that, a source of inspiration and some people that you can go to when you have issues, maybe outside of school.
Yeah, I like go to them a lot about like a lot of things, just not this.
Right.
And they're kind of like my best friends too, in certain
Yeah.
cases. But I try not to worry them too much, just because I feel like I do have to be a little more responsible as the oldest, especially as the oldest daughter. Like I just have a lot more responsibilities, and expectations, and kind of have to, since I represent my family in their honor, like I have to become a doctor and get married at a certain age and this and that. So with that like pressure, it is difficult to kind of um, rely on them as much as I used to. But other than that, they've like worked so hard for me and they made a lot of sacrifices. So that's why I'm scared of disappointing them. I don't want to upset them or disappoint them. And I kind of just want to do what they want me to do. But on the other hand, like it's really stressful because honestly, I'm just lost. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can understand that. Um, Talking to your parents, especially like you said, as the oldest, and you have a brother, correct?
Yeah.
Little
A
brother.
younger brother.
Yeah, so he probably looks up to you a little bit, and
Yeah.
it's definitely it can be hard to have so much pressure on your shoulders, especially at a time in your life when you're going through school and trying to figure things out, and it kind of feels like maybe sometimes you should have already figured these things out, but that's not the case for everyone. It speaking to myself, it took me a long time to figure out what I wanted to do in life. In fact, I didn't even start school until I was 24. So um, yeah, so we can go through a little bit about that more in our next session. Um, let's see. Um, so how is your relationship with your brother?
Um, well, rather than being an older sister, I feel like a third parent sometimes. Like I'm taking care of his homework, and whenever he needs something, like he's gonna come to me because even with my parents, like they come to me like for maybe translating at the doctors or like with paperwork. So it's like while I rely on my parents, they rely on me, and then because they rely on me for certain things, it's like my brother is expected to come to me. So I don't feel like, and I would never want to let him know what I'm feeling because I don't want him to feel the pressure as well. So that's just how I see our relationship. Like he's a good sport. Um, and like I like at home, like I talk to him a lot, maybe if I'm feeling blue some days or whatever, but I would never like put this pressure on him and make him worry because he's still really young. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, um, especially when you're growing up, the burden has been placed on you to translate and kind of be a communication between your parents and the outside world, and that's a lot of pressure for uh, a young woman, and I can understand that could be another source of stress uh, when you have a brother who is looking up to you and comes to you because you've always been there, and it's kind of like it's more comfortable to come to your big sister than to burden your parents with this. um yeah, so let's see, is there anybody else in your life that you have that you can relate to and kind of vent a little bit?
Yeah, so my friends are honestly like the people I always went to before like I came to therapy. They were the ones who suggested me to come here.
Mhm.
But like I know I can always rely on them, and they're really helpful about it. They like help me calm down and I vent to them a lot, and they give me some really good advice. But I don't think they don't have control over the situation. I mean, even I don't have control over the situation sometimes, I feel like. So other than that, like I think they're my go-to people.
That's good, that's good. Now, did you meet them in school?
I've known them since high school, and I met some
Okay.
new ones in yeah, on campus. So
Okay. How's your friends that you've made on campus? Are they are any of them people that you can go to?
Yeah, one of my coworkers, like she's a really good friend of mine. So like at work
That's
when I'm
good.
feeling stressed and we have some free time, we just talk about life.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, friends can be a huge resource to just kind of vent to, um,
Hmm.
especially when you have them in multiple places in your life, back home, at school, at work. You know, um, you, people spend a lot, like more than half of their lives at work, so it's important to have those people when you're in different aspects of your life to be able to vent to them
Hmm.
as well. So it sounds like you have a lot of people that you can kind of reach out to, and I'm glad to
Yeah,
hear that. Yep,
thankfully.
yep. And I'm glad they suggested you to come here today because, like I said, therapy can be very helpful for anybody. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to have a serious issue going on in your life. Sometimes, just something like this where it's little things can be stressful. It can lead to bigger things. So
Hmm.
coming in when you did is crucial. It's really important to do that. Yeah, so thank you for coming in. Let's see, what else do I have? Um, your parents, um, how is their relationship?
Um, it's fine. Like I think they have a trusting, loyal relationship to each other. Um, like they focus more on like us and like responsibilities of like working and like doing chores and this and that. So they're just busy with life. I don't think they have a lot of time for each other, especially since they're a little sick now. So yeah, it's kind of hard on them, but they get along well.
Okay. And your brother, you mentioned that they kind of let him choose what he wants to do in life.
I mean, he's still young, so
Yeah.
it's not rather than like choosing what he wants to do, it's like he had certain like when I was his age, I didn't get to choose what high school I want to go to. I didn't get to choose certain things and have like a phone at his age and stuff. Like they were a little more strict on me because I'm like a girl.
Mm,
So there's also that too. Like in our relationship, like I feel like not only am I his third parent, but and like I want him to rely on me, but it's like there's a little bit of kind of like it's unfair is how I see it.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And feeling like that's unfair is completely normal. It can be hard when you see um, somebody in the family getting more, being able to be more autonomous than you were at his age. That can be, it's completely normal to feel frustrated over that.
Yeah, and he doesn't even like they don't even put the pressure on him that he has to be a doctor. Like he can, but they're like, okay,
Right.
you can go into comp sci or something because that's like a typical uh like I guess conventional major for like boys in like my community. So
Mhm.
it's like I find it really unfair in that aspect too. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Now, have you given any thought to what you do want to do if you had the choice, and assuming your parents were completely supportive of it, what would you want to do?
Um, See, that's what I'm not really sure about because I don't know, I don't feel smart enough or talented enough to like really go for something, and I don't find myself passionate about anything either. So that's why it's harder for me to even stand my ground with my
Mhm.
parents. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, I definitely know I don't want to be a doctor, but I don't know what else. Because then they'll ask that, like, okay, then what else are you gonna be? So that's why I'm a little more stressed. Because
Right.
it's on top of the pressure. I just don't know what to do.
Yeah. And in sessions after this, if you decide to continue coming to therapy, I can make that one of our goals. We can kind of try to find like strengths and maybe a career path that we can hone in on and see what works for you. We can do different things to find out what is your interests and what kind of works for that.
Yeah, I think
If
that
you'd
would be
like to
really
do that.
helpful. Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with that.
Let me just. Okay, so it looks like for future sessions, I think we can talk about finding what interests you and what your strengths are and what kind of suits that. We can also talk about strategies to help you confront your parents, and maybe we'll set it up so that when you're ready to talk to them, we'll have it all set up. Like we'll have goals for you to be able to talk to them, and hopefully we'll have something that you can, because you said that it's hard to bring this up with nothing, without a passion to go with yet. So without an interest in something, it's hard to say, I don't want to be a doctor. Well, what do you want to be? I don't know yet. So we'll try to hit that milestone first, and then we can talk about how to confront your parents and just let them know that that you're still ambitious, and you still you still value these things that they have instilled in you, but you want to take it a different direction. And that's perfectly fine. And then we can also talk a little bit about your feelings of anxiety and depression lately, as well as your history with suicide. We can talk about all those things in the future. Let's see, did you, so those are the goals that I've written down. Do you have anything else that you'd like to cover, or maybe a goal that you'd like to set?
I guess, yeah, like maybe better coping strategies for like dealing with my anxiety, because of all the stressors in my life, I don't really know how to cope with what I'm feeling. So like I guess I just avoid feeling that way, and I just distract myself, and I want to face it head on and kind of learn how to cope with it better, because on top of the pressure I'm feeling stressed out about like because of my own thoughts, and putting pressure on myself as a result as well. So kind of like trying to break that thinking down and change my way like of thinking and to be more positive. I think that's something, because my friends have noticed this about me, and honestly I've noticed about myself, that I'm kind of depreciating. Like I not like I don't talk, like I don't ever I have a hard time accepting compliments, and I don't see myself in like a confident way, or like I don't know. So I guess I'm struggling with my own like image of myself, like how I perceive myself. So I would kind of like to change that. I want to be more confident, and I want to see myself in a more positive light too, if that's
Okay.
possible.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. We can
Yeah.
go over those things in sessions in the future.
Yeah, and I think I'm also that way because like I've never really had time to think of myself before. Like I'm always worrying about like my parents and my little brother, and kind
Yeah.
of all these responsibilities that I have in my own life. So I think that's another reason why I don't know like what to do, because I never had the chance to figure it out. So
Yeah.
I guess like finding time for personal growth is what I want.
Yeah, it's super important. I mean, it's very admirable to think of others and to the way you have, and like think about how others are feeling and stuff. But it's also super important to think about yourself, because it's very hard to help other people when you if you haven't helped yourself first.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So we can go over um, strategies and stuff like that, to kind of make you feel more confident in yourself, and um, just kind of be able to have a better self-image of yourself.
Mhm.
And I think that will help when you go to confront your parents about what you want to do in life. It'll also help you find your interests in life. It'll help you. I mean, all these things are connected in one way or the other, you know. So we have an overall goal that we can get to, and a bunch of little um, side streets to kind of make sure that we check the boxes, and
Mhm.
you know, do it the right way, and get you to that place in the end. So,
Mm,
do you have any questions about our first session? We've covered
mm,
a lot today.
not really, as long as like we can kind of get to the goals and get
Yeah,
some interventions down. I think
yeah.
that'd be really nice. I also kind of wanted to know more about like the community resources around me, because I feel like I'd want to connect to like my community more and my culture more. So if there's resources that could like help me bring me out of my comfort zone and like kind of help with my personal growth, um, if there's
On
resources like that available, then
Yeah,
I,
on the
yeah,
on the intake form, you checked the box for your ethnicity is Asian, correct?
yeah.
Is there more that you want to go into? Is there like a
Um,
sub community?
yeah. So like, I guess more specifically, like I'm South Asian,
Mhm.
because there's like different Asians, and not all like
Right,
Asians have the same experience. So I'm
big
Bengali.
continent.
Yeah, yeah, it's a big continent. So I'm Bengali. So like my parents like I immigrated from Bangladesh, and like culture is a huge part of my life, and religion too. So I feel like connecting with the like my culture and finding because I already value it. There's a lot of
Mhm.
like respecting your elders, taking care of your parents, and I
Yeah.
value that a lot, but sometimes there could be pressure coming from it. And I guess another thing is that like there could be some sexism in the culture, and it's not really the fault of like the people, because it's just how they grew up thinking. But like I wish I could handle that better, because there is a certain pressure on like girls, especially when they're the oldest. And I see that too. So there's like really positive aspects that I love connecting to with my culture. Um, and then there's also like kind of like the negative things, not the culture per se, but like that are perpetuated by people of the culture, or some people. So there's that. And of course, like my religion is really important to me. Like whenever, like for example, like I did mention, like when I am kind of trying to cope with anxiety, sometimes I distract myself, but sometimes I also pray, and it gives me a peace of mind. So like I guess spiritual health for me is also important. Like I know I can't like like I can't pray my feelings away, but it does keep me grounded. And I think finding ways to tap into things like that could be like a little more like helpful and unique for me. So other than that, like I don't think there's anything else that um would kind of get in the way of, or would kind of help with my situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think for me, like I really value my culture and religion a lot.
Okay. And what religion was that?
I'm Muslim, so I follow
Okay.
Islam.
Okay. I just want to clarify that. Okay, so there's definitely resources out there for you.
Hmm.
We can connect you with people in the community, as well as I think there's um, people in the community that have a more realistic view of it as well.
Hmm.
Sometimes it can be you can you know, I'm Catholic, and I know that like if I go to the church, it's going to be very like traditional. But if I talk
Hmm.
to people in the community, sometimes they have a more realistic view on some of these old practices. You know, you mentioned like sexism and stuff that happens in the culture, and you know, there's women in the Muslim community that are you know, standing out against some of these things. So that can be a big resource for you as well. So we will get you connected. I'll leave you with pamphlet. I don't know what we would have, but and we can go from there. All right.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Okay, I'm thinking, assuming that you want to go forward with the therapy sessions with me, I think we should meet at least once a week. Does that work for you?
Yeah, yeah. I
And
guess the days would vary, but
okay, I was going to
we
ask
would.
that.
Yeah, I think
So
just sorry. Go
we
ahead.
could yes, we can just plan for next week, and we'll move from there. We don't have to set it up like every Tuesday or every Monday or anything like that. But just so that we can maybe meet once a week and work through some of these things. I think that'd be really helpful, and then we can assess whether or not we should meet more or less frequently later on. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, great. We've covered a bunch of information today. It's kind of hard to believe that we're done, but I've kind of already asked this, but did you have any last minute questions for me?
No, I think we covered everything today. So yeah, thank you for everything.
All right, cool. It was really nice to meet you, Monira, and I will we'll set you up with a date and a time for next week.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for coming in.